in September 2009. A young woman was released from a Los Angeles County Sheriff's station in the middle of the night, with no more phone, no money, and no car. By morning, she had vanished. 11 months later, her remains were discovered deep in the Malibu Hills, under circumstances that remain just as puzzling as the night she disappeared. How did Mitrice Richardson go from a routine arrest to a missing persons case that still haunts California? Was it a tragic accident, a cover-up, or something far more sinister? Mitrice Lavon Richardson was born on April 30, 1985, in Los Angeles, California. Friends and family described her as intelligent, compassionate, and ambitious. At 24 years old, she had just graduated from California State University, Fullerton, with a degree in psychology. She was also a striking young woman who worked part-time as a dancer and dreamed of building a career in clinical psychology. Those closest to her say she was vibrant, outgoing, and always eager to help others. But in the months leading up to her disappearance, Mitrice's family noticed subtle changes. Her mother, Lattice Sutton, said Mitrice had been acting differently, sometimes eccentric, sometimes unusually withdrawn. There were hints of stress, and some friends later speculated she may have been experiencing the onset of a mental health crisis. Still, there was nothing to suggest that just weeks later, she would vanish without explanation. On the evening of September 16, 2009, Mitrice drove to Jeffrey's restaurant, an upscale spot in Malibu. Staff and patrons later recalled her behaving oddly, speaking about astrological signs, laughing to herself, and joining strangers at their tables without being invited. When it came time to pay her $89 bill, Mitrice discovered she didn't have enough money. Staff called the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Deputies arrived, arrested her for defrauding an innkeeper, and also impounded her car. Inside her car were her phone, purse, and money, everything she needed to get home. That night, Mitrice was taken to the Lost Hills Sheriff's Station, about 10 miles inland. Her mother later called the station, urging deputies not to release her daughter until morning. Lattice feared Mitrice was not in the right state of mind to be on her own. Deputies assured her Mitrice would be safe. But at 12:30 a.m. on September 17, Mitrice Richardson was released alone, in the middle of the night, with no transportation, no phone, and no cash. Surveillance cameras later confirmed her walking out of the station doors. After that, she vanished into the dark Malibu canyons. The morning of her release, when Mitrice failed to contact anyone, her family grew alarmed. They filed a missing persons report. In the days that followed, several potential sightings came in. A resident of Montenido, a small community near the station, reported seeing a young woman resembling Mitrice in their backyard early that morning. Deputies searched the area but found nothing. Over the following weeks, massive search efforts were launched. Volunteers, helicopters, cadaver dogs, and mounted patrols combed the rugged Malibu terrain. Flyers were distributed across Southern California. But for months, there was no trace of Mitrice. Her family publicly criticized the sheriff's department for releasing her at night in such vulnerable circumstances. Many accused authorities of negligence or worse, of covering up what really happened. On August 9, 2010, nearly a year after Mitrice's disappearance, 2 park rangers discovered a human skull and partial remains in Dark Canyon, a remote area of the Malibu Hills, about 6 miles from the Lost Hills station. The remains were later confirmed to be Mitrice Richardson. But instead of providing closure, the discovery raised more disturbing questions. Why were her remains found in such a remote, rugged location? Why had earlier searches, colluding with dogs, filed to locate her? Why did deputies remove the remains without properly notifying the coroner, violating procedure? Even more troubling, Mitrice's body was found partially with clothing scattered nearby, but no clear cause of death could be determined. Mitrice's case has fueled intense speculation for over a decade. 1. Mental health crisis. Some believe Mitrice was suffering from bipolar disorder or another psychiatric condition that had gone untreated. In this theory, after her release, she wandered into the wilderness in a confused state and died from exposure or an accident. The strange behavior at the restaurant and her decision-making that night support this possibility. 2. Negligence by law enforcement. Her family strongly believes the sheriff's department bears responsibility. Deputies released her at midnight, despite clear signs she was not well, and without ensuring she had transportation or support. Critics argue that if she had been held until morning, she might still be alive. 3. Foul play. There are darker theories that Mitrice may have encountered someone dangerous after her release, or that deputies themselves were involved. The sheriff's department's decision to move her remains without notifying the coroner fueled suspicions of a cover-up. Some ask, was there something they didn't want investigators to see? For accident. Others believe Mitrice may have attempted to hike through the rugged Malibu Hills in the dark, fell, and succumbed to the elements. Her remains being found in such a hard-to-reach location gives weight to this theory. But with no clear cause of death, the truth remains unknown. It has been more than a decade since Mitrice Richardson walked out of the Lost Hills Sheriff Station and disappeared into the night. Her story is a haunting reminder of how quickly someone can vanish and how decisions made in a single moment can ripple into tragedy. Was Mitrice's death the result of a mental health crisis, negligence, foul play, or all of the above? Until the unanswered questions are resolved, her case remains one of California's most chilling and controversial mysteries. So what do you think happened to Mitrice Richardson?